I'm Kelly Hartley, Communications Director, Volunteers of America, Oregon. We are here to celebrate 127 years of working in Oregon with our community. And we're going to start off here with Kay Turan, our President and CEO. So go ahead and take it away, Kay.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today as we celebrate 127 years of Volunteers of America. Not only Volunteers of America, Oregon, but also Volunteers of America nationally. For 127 years, VOA, both locally and nationally, has been creating vibrant, compassionate communities where every member is valued, where every home is safe, and where every life is self-determined. Volunteers of America, Oregon, VOA Oregon as we call ourselves, specializes in family safety. We also specialize in substance use disorder treatment. We specialize in behavioral health, and you hear that term a lot in our community today. Behavioral health is mental health intervention treatment and also addiction treatment. We are experts at reentry services for that population that has touched the criminal justice system. What we know at Volunteers of America, both nationally and locally, is that 93% of individuals who are incarcerated will be returned to the community. That means our community, our provider community, and our criminal justice system needs to have a response so that that reentry helps people get their lives back on track and that our community is safe. VOA has that expertise. Team VOA Oregon keeps the needs of our community at the forefront of the services we provide. At times, we initiate action to respond to community need. Other times, we are responding to a community's invitation to consider a service need in response to a social issue. Our history. 127 years ago, nationally, Volunteers of America was established. The national organization came out of a conflict, quite frankly, with the Salvation Army. The Salvation Army had come to the United States and Canada to open and provide services to those in need. The Salvation Army was founded in London, England. The brother who came to the United States had a dispute with his dad back in London and made the decision to disconnect from the Salvation Army movement and start a movement here in the United States of America based on volunteers that would provide the services that we need. At the same time, the local Salvation Army affiliate made the decision to follow the Volunteers of America charter. And as a consequence, we're both 127 years old nationally, and we're also 127 years old in Oregon. And what's the difference between then and now? 127 years ago here in Oregon, we provided childcare services. Today, 127 years later, we continue to provide pre-K services. We do it under the umbrella, which we call Family Relief Nursery. Then we provided services to mother and children, particularly to mothers who were single and working and had a need for services for their children during the day. Today, Volunteers of Oregon continues to provide services to mothers and children. And one of our key programs that we're well recognized for in our community is our program that provides domestic violence survivor services, which we call Home Free. Then we used to provide prison league services to that population that was incarcerated, that needed emotional support, that population that needed advice to parole officers to support them while they were incarcerated. But also, Volunteers of America 127 years ago was then providing support services to those individuals who were released from prison returning to the community. So we are known in this community for providing those services for that justice population. Today, we continue to do so. We provide services to those that have touched the criminal justice system through our addiction treatment program, through our men's and women's residential services program, through our outpatient program, and through our treatment programs that we provide through the court. So there's not a lot of difference between the services that we provided 127 years ago and today. What our assurance is today, and probably then too, but definitely today, is that we're providing the highest quality of services to the population that receives services from Volunteers of America, Oregon. We're committed to building upon our work as we find innovative and creative and inclusive services to provide to those most in need. We recognize that this is a challenging period of time for our community, for Oregon, for those who are in poverty, for those who need the kinds of services that we provide, and for those who are on the brink of perhaps dealing with homelessness and other kinds of issues that affect the family life. VOA is known for our responsiveness, we're known for our innovation, and we're known for our high commitment to this community. So thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for supporting us. And if we can provide additional information, please let us know. I appreciate each one of you who have come to join us today.
Great, thank you, Kay. We're gonna dive right in with the Home Free Program Director, Home Free that Kay mentioned, Christina McGovney. So Christina, go ahead and take it away.
Hi everyone, I'm Christina McGovney. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Director of Home Free, which is VOA Oregon's domestic and sexual violence programming, where we offer essential life-saving services to our community. All of Home Free services are 100% free, voluntary, and confidential. Home Free focuses on all sides of the issue of domestic and sexual violence in our community. And one of the ways we do this is through our prevention education and confidential youth advocacy programming, with advocates embedded in Portland public high schools, providing advocacy and violence prevention education in the school and classroom settings. We also support people during some of the hardest moments of their lives to provide immediate crisis support and safety planning, whether a survivor is wanting to flee their situation or just reach out to talk to somebody to support. We help survivors flee from violence through assistance in accessing safer motels or shelters, and providing emergency financial assistance through our emergency services program, which I'll talk a little bit more about here shortly. Home Free's housing programming has received national accolades for our housing first approach, and we provide short-term eviction prevention and rent assistance to medium-term assistance for up to 2 years. And within the past year, we've expanded to permanent affordable housing with our emergency housing voucher program. This is really exciting news for our community. We also provide domestic and sexual violence healthcare advocacy within our community clinic settings, which support clinic staff and patients who identify as survivors, get connected to our confidential advocacy and wraparound supports to increase those social determinants of health within survivors' lives. Domestic and sexual violence does not just impact the individual, it impacts our entire community at every single level. In addition to all that I've mentioned so far, we also provide long-term stabilization supports, which include economic empowerment programming, where as many as 99% of all domestic violence relationships include economic abuse. Economic abuse could look like interfering with a survivor's ability to work, controlling their cash flow, taking out credit in the survivor or even in the children's name, and so much more. Our economic empowerment programming looks at the totality of these economic impacts and helps survivors rebuild from there. If you or someone you know needs support, Home Free has 3 hotlines. Our emergency services hotline for those immediate crises, our restraining order hotline for assistance with protection order of all kinds in Multnomah County Courthouse, and our Portland Public Schools teen hotline to support teens reaching out for help. You can find all our hotline numbers and contact information at our website at www.voaor.org/home-free. So with all of that, I would like to tell you a little bit more about our emergency services program specifically and the amazing and resilient advocates who answer that line. We answer an average of over 6,000 calls from survivors each year, and we have seen an increase in those calls. They were almost 4,000 from July to December of 2022 in just a 6-month period. We have a small team of dedicated advocates in our emergency services program that supports survivors often in their most difficult moments. And those advocates show up and bring their all every single day in this incredibly hard, but also very rewarding work. We often see calls increase around the holidays and when there are severe weather events, such as the recent snowstorm here in Portland. Advocates on our hotline may be the first point of contact for survivors of domestic or sexual violence. No matter where Home Free falls on a survivor's list when they are making attempts to reach out for support, Our advocates treat all survivors with respect and compassion. Our crisis services include emergency housing through motel vouchers, shelter referrals, eviction prevention assistance, non-judgmental support, individual and family safety planning, systems advocacy, food and transportation assistance, and referrals to other home-free programs and other community resources. From one survivor in their own words, quote, "I am deeply grateful for the support through the motel stay and for helping me get the needed supplies for my home. I would almost likely still be on the street if it wasn't for your dedication working with me as well as your generosity. It really feels like a home here thanks to your assistance. The motel stays were instrumental towards getting this apartment as well as finding a more positive perspective on how to be safe in my situation." Unquote. This story is like so many others that come through our hotline every single day. Our team of emergency services advocates alone have over 40 years experience combined. And we are so thankful for the work that they do every day, as well as the immense gratitude for the rest of the Home Free team. So often we focus on how traumatic this work can be for advocates in terms of vicarious trauma they interface with, but there's also the vicarious resilience that they hold on to, as well as to give and hold on to hope when it feels like there is none. I am truly grateful to be a part of this amazing team, and I know that all our advocates care about the work, the mission, and most importantly, survivors in our community as they work every single day to end domestic and sexual violence. Thanks so much for taking a little of your time today.
Great, thank you, Christina. Now we're going to hear from Program Director from our Prevention Services, Anna Bledsoe. So Anna, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Kelly. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Anna Bledsoe, and I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Program Director for VOA OR's Prevention Services Program. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of our program and highlight some of the work that we are doing currently. So the Prevention Services Program seeks to prevent risky behaviors, and more specifically, we are seeking to prevent addiction. So we focus on substance misuse prevention and problem gambling prevention, and we aim to equip people with the knowledge, skills, and confidence necessary to make informed, healthy decisions. Ultimately, our goal is to see a reduction in substance misuse rates and problem gambling behaviors. We primarily serve youth and young people and the people that support them, such as parents, teachers, coaches, and that's because we are seeking to prevent behaviors and habits from developing before they happen. So we know that when it comes to issues like substance misuse and problem gambling, that there's a strong correlation between age of first use and risk of developing an addiction later on. So we are really aiming to connect with young people as early as possible. That being said, there are other risk factors for these sorts of issues, and addiction can develop at any age, and we are a resource for everyone. So in my experience, a lot of the times when people hear the term prevention within a behavioral health context, they are commonly assuming that we are offering some sort of treatment services or maybe working directly with individuals who are actively living with addiction, which we are not. In fact, much of the time in our prevention work, we're not even talking directly about substance misuse or problem gambling, but instead we're really seeking to strengthen protective factors that are associated with lower substance misuse rates, such as promoting community engagement, and we're seeking to reduce risk factors that are associated with higher substance misuse and problem gambling rates. So our program is occurring at what we call the primary level of prevention level. We are implementing universal strategies to prevent substance misuse and problem gambling for the community at large. We do a lot of community outreach and education, such as workshops on topics like substance misuse, problem gambling, media literacy, bystander intervention, and even healthy fiscal management. We work with youth to develop awareness and social norming campaigns that they feel will resonate with their peers and others in their circles, like their parents, while also remaining rooted in evidence. And we do a lot of activities that are meant to collect data and ultimately lead to environmental and policy change, such as conducting community readiness assessments and focus groups, doing environmental scans of the community, and more. So the work that we do is very varied. Currently, some existing projects that we're working on include partnering with Portland Public Schools to offer vaping education to their middle and high school students. We're working with high school students and school staff to offer peer-to-peer education on bystander intervention. And we're also partnering with local cannabis retail shops to ensure that customers are receiving messages on health and safety, such as offering educational materials on safe storage practices so that youth and pets cannot accidentally access and ingest cannabis. So much of our work is really about raising awareness and initiating conversations, and conversations create connection. And at the end of the day, connection is prevention, and connection, empowerment, and representation of the client voice are just some of the values that are really fundamental to our program. So I would like to highlight one project that our program is currently working on, but first I'd like to add a little bit of background information. So March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month. Problem gambling is defined as gambling behavior patterns that compromise, disrupt, or damage personal, family, or vocational pursuits. Problem gambling is often referred to as a hidden addiction. Some of this is because they're not always obvious, like physical or outward signs of problem gambling, but also especially because our society really lacks education and awareness about problem gambling. And as a result, people are less likely to perceive it as a problem. So a lot of people do not realize how prevalent gambling is, and have a tendency to really think about gambling as an adult-only activity. But there are many youth and young adults who are gambling as well. In the United States, about 80% of adults report having gambled at least once in their lives, and approximately 60% in the last year. About 1% of US adults are estimated to meet the criteria for severe gambling problems, according to diagnostic criteria, with an additional 2 to 3% considered to have mild or moderate gambling problems. On top of all of that, more than half of Oregon teens have gambled, and most commonly report betting on sports bets or sports, games, and cards. And we know that young people who gamble are more likely to engage in other risky behaviors, such as substance use, and are also at higher risk of developing a gambling problem. So some symptoms of problem gambling include an increased preoccupation with gambling, a need to bet more money more frequently, a loss of control that is kind of manifested by the continuation of the gambling behavior, even though there are negative or serious ongoing consequences. And, problem gambling can result in all sorts of consequences, including interpersonal problems, career loss or interference with school, financial ruin, and more. And then also important to note that problem gambling is also associated with higher rates of substance use disorders and suicide. So while gambling is not always problematic, and many people are able to maintain a healthy relationship with gambling, gambling is an activity that carries risk, including the risk of addiction. And when gambling is introduced early on in people's lives, their risk for problem gambling increases. So according to the National Council on Problem Gambling, about 6% of college students in the US experience serious problems related to gambling. And additionally, athletes are a subset of the population that are also at higher risk for sports-related gambling specifically. So we've recently received funding to support the development of a peer-driven problem gambling prevention campaign targeting college-age student athletes. So thanks to the National Council on Problem Gambling for this funding. We will be using it to conduct interviews and focus groups with student athletes, to identify current exposure levels, attitudes, and behaviors about gambling amongst student athletes, while also offering education on problem gambling with a special focus on sports betting. So we'll be working alongside these student athletes and coaches to learn about sports betting culture in their athletic communities, And in collaboration with these student athletes, our findings are going to be used to develop and pilot a problem gambling awareness campaign designed to be used in outreach to all student athletes in college settings. So we'll be taking a peer-led approach in which student athlete participants will be helping co-create materials and share the information with their peers. So ultimately, we're aiming to educate college athletes on the risks associated with gambling, such as addiction, and to empower them with the knowledge that they need to make informed decisions and gamble responsibly if they choose to gamble. And our goal overall is to prevent problem gambling amongst student athletes and reduce the number of athletes exhibiting problem gambling behaviors. So this is one project that we're really excited about. If you or someone you know are a college athlete or coach who might be interested in participating or learning more, you can reach out to myself or my coworker, Kalo Obasi, via phone call, text message, or email. Thank you, Kelly, for sharing that information on the screen. Participation is flexible and participants will be compensated for their time. And then finally, I just want to remind everyone that free and confidential problem gambling treatment does exist in Oregon. The Oregon Problem Gambling Resource is a great hub of information and resources, both around prevention and treatment. And they have a call and a text line, information on local meetings, treatment centers, and so on, which can all be accessed via their website at www.opgr.org or by phone at 1-877-695-4648. And you may also know already that VOA Oregon also offers problem gambling treatment as well, though through a different program. So it's just important that if you or someone you know is struggling with gambling, there are resources that are out there. There's treatment available that's free, that's confidential, and that works. So thank you all for taking the time to be here today and for your ongoing support. It's incredible to know that we've been here for 127 years, doing great work from the start and continuing to do that all together and with your support. So thank you so much.
Great, thank you, Anna. Always lots of fabulous information from both you and Christina. I learn something every time. I'd like to pass it along next to Christy D'Angelo, who was our development director. Christy, take it away.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you everybody for joining us. We're really happy to have you all here. I appreciate you sitting in to listen more about home free and prevention services. And just a reminder that these are just two of the incredible programs and services that Volunteers of America Oregon offers to our community members and our neighbors in need. You can learn more and join Team VOA. Be sure to visit our website to learn even more about the programs and services that we provide. And you can engage with us on our different social media channels, including Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We have a YouTube channel. Come look at our content, engage with us, share the content with people that you think might be interested in learning more about us too. We also have a newsletter that you can subscribe to, and Kelly has graciously put that link right there. So it's just voaor.org/newsletter. We would love to have your support in many different ways. You can support home free or prevention services by making a gift on our website and choosing that program from our drop-down tab. We also have all of our other programs listed. If there's a particular program that we offer that you would like to support, they're all there. If you have any questions about our different programs or how to support us, you can call the number on the website and ask about how you can make a specific gift. We are happy to engage with you. We hope to hear from you soon. And as a reminder, you can also support us as a volunteer. Just as Anna mentioned, she's looking for recommendations for student athletes to participate in the study for sports betting. We have various different volunteering opportunities, and you can go to our website and find out how you can participate with us as a volunteer also. Just one final thank you. We're really happy you were all here with us today. And we're looking forward to hosting more of these so you can learn even more about our programs and services at VOA. So please be on the lookout for our next invitation for our next informational webinar, and look forward to talking to you about how we can elicit positive change in the community with you. I hope you all have a great afternoon.